Holy interweb radio show, Jake. It's time to do a DCEU Phase 1 podcast.
All right, guys, what's going on? This is Comic Relief, and we are coming at you with another podcast again. This time it's going to be a little bit different. A couple weeks ago, I had a regular of mine, TJ. He came in with an idea for a podcast, and we decided we were going to run with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we've both written out a Phase 1 of how we would do or redo the DCEU film slate. And we're going to start off with our first film all the way up to our first kind of group film. And as always, we've got Josh here. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, he's drinking a beer. We're all having a couple beers. TJ is here. Actually, that's the guy who did that beautiful little intro. Say hello.
Hello, people.
It was a great intro.
It was good, wasn't it?
I'm no offense to you, but I think that has to be probably one of the best intros we have now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Moving on. All right, so.
I talked about putting my tongue and pulling it out of a woman's asshole.
You did last time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with talking about that. We can talk more about that.
We could.
Phase 2.
After hours, double X.
Good ass eating.
Yeah, that'll be episode 1. How to
Batman.
properly eat ass.
Are we going to put Power Girl in that movie?
I'd like to.
ass eating. The Dark Knight.
I'm gonna put Cheetah in that movie just to like a little hair. Like a little bush. No, but all right. So what we're gonna do is break it down, and Josh has not heard these ideas yet, so we're gonna trade off. I'm gonna do my Batman. TJ's gonna do his Batman, so on and so forth until we get to our group one. And the entire time, Josh, while making inappropriate comments, will also be deciding which movie he likes more out of his proposed pitches here. At the end, we're going to decide which one gets the most votes and what our definitive Phase 1 slate will be. And we've got some cool ideas in the works for how we're going to progress this further. But this is just our Phase 1. So, first off, because it was his idea, I'm going to let TJ run with his Batman movie. And go.
All right. First off with Batman, you can't start him out as a 40-year-old on the downslope of his career. You got to have this guy ready to do at least 10 films. And the thing that they have never done with a Batman film, and this is the way you make people quit talking about the Chris Nolan trilogy, is you do a true detective movie. They haven't really got into that. He's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, but the only detective stuff we've ever seen is the lame ballistic thing from The Dark Knight. And
What? Are you telling me that you can't take a fingerprint off of a shattered bullet?
No, I don't know. Maybe you can, but it was ran through so fast that I've seen that movie 100 times and I still don't understand what they exactly did in that scene. But in a detective movie, you know, you got I want to see like that Sherlock Holmes inner monologue work, because in comic books you always have that inner monologue that you're reading from the character. Beautiful. And to me, Batman, his inner monologue sticks with me more than anybody. The way he's filling things out. In Sherlock Holmes, you had that with Robert Downey Jr. and that's what you do. You go in there. You go to the world's greatest detective, and Matt.
So
Reeves,
is that the name of your title? Is that the title of your movie?
I really haven't given a title, but yeah, it works.
Okay.
I mean,
Batman, World's Greatest Detective.
World's Greatest Detective. I can do it.
I like it.
I can do it.
So Matt Reeves could actually do this if he's listening, right with the Batman trilogy.
So you're giving him free reign to use this, no copyright, nothing, no royalties.
I'll just be one happy fan. If
Do you want to like have your name in the credits at least?
No. You can.
Man,
fuck that. I'm gonna.
I just want.
This is on your podcast. So if you want to,
preludes of mine, any of my ideas. If any directors out there listening, I want fucking credit.
And also, since it's on your podcast, any ideas that TJ gives out is technically Jake's ideas by transfer of property, right?
This is why I have him here.
I did sign a waiver
Yeah.
for this podcast.
A waiver.
Don't let me forget to make you sign that after this, okay?
Yeah, sign that waiver. Don't read the bottom print where it says that we get to do crude things to your body.
So I'm gonna have my lawyer.
It's a little tiny fine print. Don't have the lawyer reading.
We're trying to leave lawyers out of this.
By signing it, you're giving us consent.
Okay. Let's get back on track. All right, so go on with your Batman story.
Okay, for a villain, I'm gonna use the Riddler because he makes sense as a detective villain. You got the Long Halloween or 0 Year actually, which take your side. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's the first Batman movie. What you do? 0 Year, you know, Riddler's a big villain. Batman's early in his career. You can take things out of that storyline to use. In that storyline, he teams up with his, I believe it's Bruce Wayne's uncle, And maybe you can have Riddler team up with somebody else, maybe a gangster like a Carmine Falcone or a Maroni, or get some of that stuff in there and bring in a little bit of the Long Halloween aspects. Maybe be Riddler's playing games with Batman, kind of like the way the Long Halloween was, and with leaving these little riddles for all of his murders. And maybe Riddler's killing off gang members to take control, and setting it up where this gang thinks it's the Maroni gang that killed somebody from the Falcone family. And meanwhile, Batman's trying to figure this out. And you could even put the Calendar Man in there and do that whole Silence of the Lambs thing. Or you could save that for Joker and Harley later on down the road and do the Silence of the Lambs. You don't want to go there too much, I don't think. But yeah, I'd put Selena Kyle in the movie, definitely for sure. Okay. Early on, you know,
not Catwoman yet.
Maybe she is. Maybe they've intercrossed, but they don't know that they don't figure out in this one who Bruce and Selena really are. Also in this movie, it's a lot, but if you're going to start a DC slate, maybe Joker's in it. Opening scene. Batman's busting Joker. Maybe you do like a Man Who Laughs type, the ending of Man Who Laughs, you know, at the waterfront reservoir, how it ends or something, pay homage to that, and this begins kind of your relationship between Gordon and Bruce, you know, because they got a little rocky relationship, but him bringing in Joker, and then this Long Halloween, maybe they start to work together, figuring out Riddler's game that he's playing with them. And in this movie, at the end of it, you even can set yourself up for a post-credit scene with maybe, if that's the case and you put Joker in the beginning of it, you got Harley there at the end of it as a psychiatrist doing her first little sit-down with Mr. J. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that can lead to all kinds of other things for sequels.
Okay, so in your movie, how long has Batman been Batman? He's approximately
a year. I mean, he's still early into it. You know, he's just now, like I said,
so these villains are really piling on quickly.
Maybe Joker's his first one, but Riddler, I don't want to see a lot of them. Like, I don't want to see Clayface. I don't want to see Penguin yet. Mostly gang members and Riddler. Okay. You know, so Joker's just a thing. He doesn't have to be in there, but he's Joker. And I got an idea for a second movie, and it doesn't involve Joker. So, you know, but I don't want to wait till a third movie to bring Joker into it. That's just too late for me. So maybe you get him right away at the beginning of Batman taking down Joker, and that's all you see of Joker till the final scene.
Yeah, you know, that would be a kind of interesting thing that we don't really see in a whole lot of movies. It might make it a little bit confusing, but maybe have that kind of scene, but you have that later on down the road. And it's like you start the movie off where it's all where potentially it will end for Batman, where it's him about to finally take down Joker and kill him. But then you start the story from about the beginning with him hunting down the Riddler. Riddler's a perfect character, I believe, to start off with a movie because it shows his detective skills.
Right.
And then you just like kind of piece like little things where you kind of go back and forth with time, like not back and forth in time, but like you kind of flash into the future a little bit to where all these events that happened in these movies all lead to him catching the Joker. I mean, that might be pretty cool because then in that way you still get your Joker and you don't wait until the third movie to get him, but then he's not your very first villain technically.
No.
I like it.
He's got to be in there though, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then just have it where, because I mean, it's going to be his number one villain. Everybody already knows that. So why not have it where we get to the where it looks like he's about to kill the Joker, and you just kind of like the beginning starts off where you think he's going to kill the Joker, and then you go to the beginning. You go to the beginning of the whole story.
All right.
I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah. So
I think you have a good idea there. I definitely like the idea of the Riddler being the main villain though, and using the gangsters and everything. Have him using them against each other to kind of throw Batman off, and I think detective story wise, it's great. And the Riddler is the best way to utilize that. You know? I mean, the Riddler's whole premise is to try to test Batman.
Okay, all right. Well, we don't have to go. I mean, let's.
You know, you could even say maybe Riddler beats Batman, and Batman never even catches him in this one. Maybe it's still a mystery at the end of it. It's kind of on the Long Halloween. It's a mystery of who the Holiday Killer really was, because it was Albert Falcone, but really it was Dent's wife.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't
Spoiler
read,
alert!
if you haven't read Long Halloween, it's only been
It's
out
like
for
25, 30 years, yeah.
Two
But I mean,
decades.
maybe it's Riddler, and he's doesn't get caught at the end of it.
All right. Well, I like it. So, TJ's Batman, world's greatest detective. Good stuff.
Working title.
Working title. Okay.
Working title.
I've got mine. Has a lot of similarities to TJ's. Promise
see
we
the
didn't.
notes,
We
yeah.
didn't work on this together, so we're very like-minded.
Just tells you-
My working title is Batman Arkham. All right. So, some of the storylines I'm going to be taking from is 0 Year, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, and Earth 1. All right, so I'm kind of blending all these together. Oh, and of course, the Court of Owls. I'm taking from that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie it's a detective noir styled film, right? It's something I would consider to be a kind of low budget. You can probably do about $45 million movie. That's just so you can get the idea. It's grounded, but it's also very much a detective Batman movie, right? Like you said, there's going to be a lot of inner monologuing. There's going to be a lot of dark shadows, and a lot of voiceover work, right? So I'm taking from the 0 Year. I'm gonna use Riddler as my main bad guy in this movie, like the main foe, right? This is also Batman's early years, right? He's not been Batman for very long. He's still in the trial and error stage. He's learning from all of his failures as Batman. So what Riddler does is he brings a new element to Batman. This is when Batman realizes he needs to become a detective because of Riddler's clues, right? So he's got to be able to solve these riddles in order to solve the murders and solve the cases and things like that. So he's never really run into that before. He's basically, up until this point, he's been taking down crime families, mob bosses, your alleyway thugs and muggers, things like that, right? So, and then I'm also taking from Long Halloween, Batman is continually returning to Arkham. Yeah, he's visiting this one inmate over and over because he's starting to see that these new killings that he's on are following a very similar MO as to what this inmate was first incarcerated for. This inmate, his name is William Cobb. Now, we'll get into who he really is later, but if you're a Batman fan and you've read it, you know the name William Cobb and his alter ego. So he's going in there and he's trying to get information, realizing that the guy William Cobb is in Arkham right now, possibly for a crime he didn't commit. Of course, we're going to get Alfred. I'm taking from Earth 1. Alfred, he's actually ex-military, MI6, so that's actually where Batman started to get a lot of his fundamental martial arts and combat training and things like that. So the killer leaves behind clues. Riddler, Arkham's ties to. He's going to touch on Arkham's ties to Gotham and the Waynes, right? The Arkham Manor and what it means to the Waynes, which is. I forget what story it was, but Arkham was actually basically Martha's maiden name, and then her family funded the Arkham Manor and stuff like that.
Year 1, right?
Was it year 1?
I think it's year
I thought
1.
it was year 1 as well. I have that written
because
down.
it was like this whole bit about how, like, when he walks past it, it was before they turned it to the market.
Yeah, Frank Miller's year 1.
And when he was a little kid, he was walked past it and he was really, like, kind of freaked out about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then we find out that this man named Edward Nygma is a forensic scientist turned bad guy via Court of Owls. Whoa. Framing him for the death of his girlfriend, Kristen Kringle, a man with an affinity for riddles. So that basically the Court of Owls gets a hold of Riddler, blackmails him into leaving these clues for Batman and committing these murders. Meanwhile, Bruce's extracurricular activities force him to slack on his responsibilities with Wayne Enterprises, and another tech company puts an offer to buy out Wayne Enterprises, which is LexCorp. So then there's going to be a scene where Bruce walks in on Luthor being interviewed by a man, and as Wayne bursts in to confront Luthor over his hostile takeover attempt, we get a quick glimpse of a man in a trench coat, glasses, and a top hat, right? And he's interviewing Lex Luthor. Anyone in the know?
Like a top hat? Like Abraham Lincoln top hat?
Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Oh, you mean a fedora?
Fedora, whatever the fuck
A
it's
fedora.
called. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
not a top hat like Abraham Lincoln or, Bob the Butcher.
Right. Not a bowler cap.
Yeah, no,
but anyway.
Hello there. I am.
Why is he Russian?
I don't know. I'm trying to go for like an old folky New Yorker.
Remind me not to let you go.
Hello, my name is Levi the Reporter.
From the Mother Russia.
From Mother Russia.
So anyway, so this would be a nice little scene. I think that fans could be like, oh my god, that man interviewing Lex Luthor well, maybe Luthor reversed him as like, Kent, you can leave, right? So
Great.
But this actor will be cast in advance, obviously, because this will be the man who plays Superman in the Superman movie. While Luthor they're repeating something that Cobb kept repeating to him over and over, Bruce is talking to Lex. Lex drops this little thing that Bruce latches onto, which is this term, the labyrinth. And then right then, Bruce has his suspicions that Lex Luthor is also somehow involved in the case that he's on. Bodies keep showing up. The Batman finally tracks down Riddler as he's looking to expose or smear the Wayne name and link them to the crime families and mental illness. So basically, like, the Court of Owls has positioned Riddler to smear Bruce Wayne because the Court of Owls knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And so they're trying to take him off the playing field, not by killing him as Batman, but by taking him off the chessboard as Bruce Wayne. Then this leaves an open door for the Lex Luthor thing. Also, there's going to be a Barry Allen cameo pre-Flash into one of the murder crime scenes that Batman ends up investigating with Jim Gordon. The teaser at the end of the movie, which could be an end credit scene, is going to be Cobb getting out of prison and a quick glimpse of a Talon mask. That is my Batman Arkham.
I dig it. Dig it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, when you so does Batman? Does he know about the court?
Not yet. He's realizing that there's more to Edward Nygma than meets the eye.
See, that's what I like about it.
Yeah. One thing I need to add too. On the TVs in the background of Arkham is a news report that Oliver Queen billionaire is apparently missing from after his yacht was found sunken off the South Pacific. Sorry, so that's just a quick thing that I need to put on
your
the background of
movies
Arkham.
Is filled with Easter eggs.
It's filled with a lot of Easter eggs, but it's also going to be a big Batman world-building movie, but also a very isolated movie about how Batman hones his detective skills, and it's a very intimate look at Batman. The things that I highlighted were all these Easter eggs, but those are just things that are supposed to be in passing. I don't want to shine a spotlight on these things and go, look at this, let's stop the momentum of the movie. No, they're things that if you're not a fan, you don't catch them, you know?
Okay.
But anyway. All right. Any thoughts?
Well, both your guys' pitches are almost, they're very, very similar. You planned out a little bit more on your villain and on your Easter eggs, definitely showing how to build a world. TJ obviously had the same kind of idea that it needs to be a detective movie.
Absolutely.
It needs to be. So in a way, I feel like you guys both have a tie. Because, you guys both had the same villain. Mm-hmm. You guys both had the same premise, the same stylistic way of movie. Jake just went into really details on his Easter eggs.
I did. So yeah. I do need to say
he was the boy that when everybody else was painting their Easter eggs and they're doing two colors, he's sitting here,
putting Batman on it,
glitter and shit, and Batman all over it. Now, a quick question: you're going to do Court of Owls?
Yes.
Now, are you going to I know that you said it. Bruce Wayne will not know who the Court of Owls is. Are you going to take a little note from Snyder with the fact that the Court of Owls is kind of like a folklore with the little rhyme and everything?
Absolutely. The Court of Owls is not just going to be in the Batman movie. This is going to be, all these movies are going to be very interconnected.
I will say one thing I really do enjoy. I do like the idea of this whole LexCorp, Wayne Enterprise thing kind of like clashing. That's one thing that you don't really hear a whole lot about, but you got two billionaires, one's a villain and one is a hero, and you got to think, and actually three if you actually count Oliver Queen. Yep. But there's never any rivalry there, and I feel like there should definitely be some more rivalry.
Yeah. I got that from Brian Azzarello's Luthor book, actually.
Yeah,
I really like that book, so I wanted to incorporate a little bit of that.
Okay, so for your guys' Phase 1 Batman movie, I feel like it's a tie. You guys pretty much pitched me about the same movie. I feel like you guys almost worked on it together. I feel like you guys are fucking. No one
pitched that to Zack Snyder.
Right? Yeah, no. What happened was Snyder was like, "But you're saying there's no Night Owl." There's no goggles on this guy. I don't like it.
Superman doesn't die. No. Throw it out.
Doesn't work.
Hold on. Wait. He's not in a fat suit. No. Fuck this.
I will want to throw out there one more thing. Okay. Seriously. Okay.
What's up?
With the rest of these movies, when you guys are pitching them to me. Mm-hmm. If they contain boobs or penises, they will automatically win the vote.
Will do. All right.
Initially you guys pitched the same movie, but if TJ was like, And then Selena Kyle showed her big-ass titties. And Batman showed his throbbing cock. And I'd been like,
wow, really?
TJ wins.
There's a lot of Superman throbbing cock in my next movie, so we should probably just, move past that.
Man of Steel, laying that pipe down.
That's
Man
exactly.
of Steel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hear some Man of Steel. Come on, let's go.
He's laying that lead pipe.
I got like half a chub going on right now.
All right, so let's move on. You got your Superman movie?
Yeah.
All right, so TJ,
Wait
pitch
a
us
minute.
your
Here's a
Superman.
quick question. You guys are starting with Batman.
Yes.
Now, I know that we're all trying to go Superman, Batman. But, quick question.
If it doesn't go in the...
before you start pitching yours, would Superman be your second movie that would release?
Yeah, he's definitely in my phase 1. The order doesn't really matter.
The order doesn't matter? Okay, cool.
Not so much because
All right,
they
go
don't
for
blend
it.
over. Okay, Superman movie. I don't know Superman quite like I know Batman. I don't know anybody quite like I know Batman, and I really don't know shit. So, let me just start off by saying Jesse Eisenberg really fucked up playing Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Because
Amen.
The Social Network, he had that arrogance. I'm smarter than you, and I will prove it to you by the end of this conversation, and you will know that I'm smarter than you. He played a mix between the Riddler and the Joker, and I that's not what I expected. When they first cast him, I was like, okay, he's young, but he's the Social Network. I can get behind this. And then it's just disappointing, man.
It reminded me a lot of Jim Carrey's Riddler. I'm not going to lie. It reminded me a lot of Jim Carrey's Riddler.
It was bad, but all right, let's go on.
My story is a President Lex movie. Him running for office.
Like
a political kind of drama. I want to see a Jimmy Olsen Clark Kent relationship in this movie because that's something. I mean, supposedly, what with the James Olsen that we did gets killed off right away in the first scene of BVS.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
to make up for the Jenny Olsen in the original Man of Steel.
I want to see interactions of Clark, interviewing Lex running for president, and him slowly figuring out that there's more to this guy's sinister plan, that he's not right. He's not a good leader for the free world, but he's a CEO billionaire, and when have we ever seen some CEO billionaire become president? I mean, it's not very likely, but
it's a parallel.
That's never happened.
I'm sensing like you're like some relatable content going on.
They're all crooks, really, when it comes down to it. But Lex is crooked in this movie. I want to see some LexCorp Wayne Enterprises ties. Set up a post-credit scene with maybe Clark and Bruce talking about Wayne Enterprises' connection to LexCorp, and that kind of sets up those two's first meeting. I know you touched on those two kind of in the Batman movie, and there you go, have it here. Either movie you put it in, flick, whatever film, it works out. Put a minor villain in there, like maybe Toyman, and he was a disgruntled employee, and say that the company my lore on him's not all that great, but he was a
Toyman?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, I don't think anybody's lore on Toyman is very sharp.
No, probably not.
There's one person going like, about the comic, like, Toyman was a great villain.
He's one of the best Superman villains.
He's one of the best ones. He's right there next to Kite Man.
Fuck.
It can be anybody. I just thought Toyman because maybe he's disgruntled, and he used to work for a company that was a share from LexCorp, and Superman has to save Lex from this, even though he doesn't want to
I
save
like that.
I'm
Lex.
liking this.
I like that angle, yeah.
And Lex gets away at the end of it. Toyman isn't really the bad guy. Maybe the real struggle with this movie is Clark trying to figure out how to handle things the all-American way from an alien's perspective.
I like that.
You know what I like about this so far? Is it's not so much a Superman movie as much as it's a Clark Kent movie.
Yeah.
I like that.
But we also seen downfalls of that before. Not to knock, but we've seen Superman Returns and
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
but no,
that-
I'm not
that-
saying it's the same thing. I'm just saying we've seen the heavily Clark Kent stuff. But no, I'm not knocking you at all. Just addressing his point. Sorry.
I never understood why Superman left in that movie, and it tied into the old ones. It was
Because the quest for peace was just so mind shattering.
I didn't get it. Just like I didn't get why Batman took 8 years off to because Rachel died.
It's because there wasn't a knee brace that could heal him until 8 years later. Obviously.
Yeah. His parents died by a gun and make him want to fight, but his girl that was going to end up with somebody else
TJ really likes Batman. I can
He
tell.
does.
I love Batman.
We were talking about Superman and his Superman movie, but we're going right to
Hey,
Batman.
Bruce is
love
in
this.
this movie. But anyway, go on. I'm done. I don't know Superman, but I just want to see a President Lex movie.
That'd be pretty
and,
cool.
You know, I mean, him having to save Lex, even though, you know, I mean, to do the right
No,
thing.
that makes
and
a
actually
good
save
angle,
him.
though. I like that angle.
Yeah.
I do.
You know?
I mean, that's the one thing that's really cool about. I know you said you're not too fluent, but I'm not super fluent on Superman either. But one thing I always liked about Lex and Superman is they're definitely villain. You know, they're definitely, you know, like that's his main Batman. They're bad guy, Batman. See, God damn it, TJ. But that's his main bad guy.
Let's just make a Batman
you know?
phase 1.
Yeah,
That's it,
Batman
that's it.
is Batman.
Batman, Batman and Robin, Nightwing, Batman and Red Hood.
Oh, you're starting to sound like Justin's playlist. And but the one thing that I really do enjoy about it is, like, from what I've ever read, there's always been this weird relationship.
With who?
With Lex and Batman or Superman. God damn it, TJ! Like,
We're on Superman.
yeah, we're on
Yeah.
Superman. Okay, with Lex and Superman, to me, they always had this, like, mild form of respect, but also hatred towards each other.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know
like
about the
that.
respect thing.
Yeah, they're
but-
not so much respect. It's hard to explain.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
let me pitch mine, and
You
then
pitch
we
yours,
can,
and
we'll
then
talk about them. Okay.
we'll break it down.
So my working title is Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Okay. So I'm going to be taking notes from Mark Waid's Birthright, J. Michael Straczynski's Earth 1, and Jeff Johns' Secret Origin. Okay, so some of the nuggets I want to hit on in this movie, right? One, it's the early years of Superman again. It's not an origin. There's no leaving Krypton or finding for the first time that he's an alien. None of that stuff, okay? We've already seen it plenty of times. We're moving on past it, okay? We're going to get little nuggets of, like, mentions of the ideas behind the glasses, why he wears the glasses, because in, I think it was in Birthright, it might have been Birthright, Mop talks about how Clark's eyes are so blue that the glasses actually dilute it. And so his eyes come across less blue than as just Superman. I thought that was just a really cool idea.
Yeah.
You know, it helps to mask who, you know, Clark Kent, and how he's got a change in posture, which I remember from All-Star Superman. The suit was made by Ma Kent. The cape is actually the blanket he was wrapped in and swaddled in when they found him in the rocket.
So he's kind of like the boy off of the Charlie Brown.
Whatever.
Like Linus
Ma and
ran around
Pa
like a-
are not dead in this movie. They will not die in this movie.
Good grief, Batman.
We're gonna see Superman periodically visiting the farm, getting life advice from Ma and Pa. We see that he's still growing as a person. We're gonna see the stark difference between Smallville and Metropolis. This needs to feel like two very different locations, and the locations themselves need to feel like characters. Solidify that Metropolis is near the St. Louis area and not across the fucking bay from goddamn Gotham. That's something I'd definitely like to make sure is in the fucking movie. Let's see. Seeing the small failures of Superman prompts the trips to Smallville, and the main love interest is actually Lana Lang and not Lois Lane. Actually, while writing this, I actually realized that 3 very important people to Superman all have the initials LL. That was kind of odd. Didn't realize that until when I was writing this down.
Dude, is your mom's name Martha?
Yeah. Dude, did we just become best friends? Fuck yeah.
Fuck, my mom's name's Teresa.
Fuck! Get out of here, mother. All right,
man.
so unfortunately, I went really in depth with my Superman one. Like, so you were talking about like your Lex Luthor, and like that's a fucking great angle. Mine's a much more straightforward, just Superman movie where he needs to learn to balance his life between Superman and Clark Kent. Like, he can't do everything all the time. He needs to live his life as Clark Kent. That's kind of the overall theme and message in this movie. But I don't know. I'm just gonna set up the movie real quick for you.
So are you gonna have? You said Mom and Pa is still alive.
Yes.
Are they playing the same angle where you can't show the world your powers type thing?
No. He at this point he's
That's
already
cool.
been Superman for
That's
a little
cool.
while.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's just kind of coming back because, you know, as you're still early on Superman, you're still kind of learning. There's a learning curve to it. So he's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
hey, what do I do?
You're
What's
a
your
god. Why
advice?
wouldn't you want to be a god?
Right? Yeah.
Don't
So
do it, son.
all right,
Shut
so
hater.
the movie starts off with a voiceover, and a man is yelling that he was promised something, but the promise was not met. We see a hard slam down of a remote on a desk and recently turned off TV screen. It's Luthor in his office with windows overlooking a bright sunny day in Metropolis. Cut to a man, Raymond Maxwell Jensen, working sanitation in a dark industrial-looking windowless area. Out of nowhere, 2 big men snatch him up. All right. Cut to Jensen being strapped down to a hyperbaric tank, and a dark silhouette slowly moves into a spotlight, monologuing about how sometimes drastic measures need to be taken, and a sacrificial lamb can be necessary for the good of the people. And then it's Luthor monologuing on and on about it. Superman flying about, doing his thing, stopping small disasters. We need to see him being a global presence, not just a presence in Metropolis, but he's everywhere, and he's putting out small fires everywhere. So he's going to places like China, Africa, Central City, etc. We see Clark in an Arctic setting, picking up a small key, opening a door. As he drops it, the thing thuds to the ground and shakes the ground a bit. Again, it's like basically the key to the Fortress of Solitude cannot be lifted by anybody but Superman, so he has no problems leaving on the fucking doorstep. Something I always thought was kind of neat. We get a quick look at the Fortress of Solitude. We get Kellex. He greets him. Familiar trinkets are in the background, statues of Jor-El and Lara, stuff like that. Superman is chronicling his adventures on a slat with his heat vision and Kryptonian hieroglyphs, right? So this is something I'm taking from All-Star Superman, where he's basically making a journal of everything he's been doing as Superman so far, but he uses his heat vision to write it in slabs of stone, but it's all, again, in Krypton hieroglyphs. So basically, he's the only one who can read it.
I'd pay to see that.
See, isn't that kind of shit? I've always just thought, like, it doesn't need to be highlighted, but it's just cool to see. It's just...
Where do you learn it?
Well, because he's got the Fortress of Solitude, so he's got all the crystals that harbor all the information.
Is Marlon Brando?
Yes, Marlon Brando being brought back for Jor-El. Thank you for bringing that
up.
Yeah.
Okay,
no. It's just going to be replayed footage from the original Superman, the movie.
I'd buy it, dude. I'm in. I am in. Take my money.
All right. So anyway, so Superman's chronicling his adventures, blah, blah, blah. Talking about his life up to that point, talking about Lana. This is the first our first drop of Lana Lang instead of Lois. The Daily Planet. This is basically where we get like a good little information dump on where he is in his life, right? So we understand he's with Lana. He's working at the Daily Planet. He talks about Lois, a woman he works with. A few minor villain name drops. Actually, I've got Toyman written down here, and others. Yeah, and other C-listers.
Toyman. Sell the toys.
A story, and then we get onto a story that he's working on involving Lex Luthor. A mysterious man in Gotham Star Labs when he mentions Mom and Pa's advice. Stops, smiles, heads for Smallville. So basically, after he talks about Mom and Pa, he kind of smiles, stops, and decides to go visit Mom and Pa. They do their thing. He's farming, blah, blah, blah. Then Clark hears something in Metropolis while he's in Smallville. So this, again, kind of putting on display his super hearing. He takes off to Metropolis, finds this big, grotesque creature downtown, and it's screaming Luthor's name, and it's learning that it's absorbing energy as it's going. Basically, it's Parasite. So this Raymond Maxwell Jensen is the original Parasite. So Parasite is like my main villain. You need somebody you can go toe-to-toe with, and Parasite's one of those guys. So Superman tries to talk to Parasite before he starts attacking. He calms it down and reaches out a friendly hand, but as soon as they touch, all the energy transfers to Parasite, severely weakening Superman. This is something that Parasite didn't know he could do, so he just took on basically all of Superman's powers, but it also physically manifests and it starts morphing him and like disfiguring him even further, his physical look. So then he gets, all this information. So he gets, not only does he get Superman's powers, but he also gets all of his memories and everything. So he gets a bunch of flashbacks of Superman as a kid, his secret identity, all this stuff flashes into his mind and overloads and incapacitates Parasite at this time. So Parasite is out. So during cleanup, Luthor employs a team that no one knows is Luthor, a team to extract Parasite, while Amanda Waller cameos trying to claim jurisdiction, blah, blah, all that stuff. Superman in a daze overhears the extraction team in LexCorp, and so basically at this point, Clark goes up to Perry White, says, "Hey, I'm going to go investigate this Lex Luthor lead that I've got from an anonymous source." This is when he goes to Lex Luthor to fucking interview him, and so Mercy comes in and says, "Luthor, you got your 10 o'clock interview," and Luthor's got his hands rolled up, hands full of blood, all this shit. He's been working on Parasite. He's like, "Okay, I'll be there in a minute." Comes in, Luthor and Clark are basically having a back and forth. I lost my place. Clark interviews Luthor. Clark tracks his heart, and it's Clark is tracking his heartbeat as a man bursts into Luthor's office, Bruce Wayne. So mad about his whatever going on.
Who's he?
Oh, I don't remember, dude. It was just this name I was looking up on Wikipedia.
He's some billionaire playboy in Gotham.
Yeah, I think his name is Iron Man.
He's weird. He hangs out with like little kids.
Yeah, and he likes to kill them.
That's weird.
He does like to take them on adventures and kill them.
But anyway, Bruce Wayne busts through the door, mad about his attempt at a hostile takeover. And this is basically showing us in timeline where this movie takes place with the Batman movie, right? So this is the same scene from the other side of the fence of when Batman walks into Lex Luthor.
Nice touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
And then, so as Clark is leaving his office, he uses his X-ray vision on Lex's desk. He sees a couple things called Labyrinth and Cadmus, things that are filed underneath those tabs. Blah, blah, blah. Things happen. You know, I've got a lot of Easter eggs. Like, this thing's fucking long. I'm not going to go over to all of it. You know, we end up going back to the...
like
it's like 5 pages long.
Pages
yeah, this thing just kept pouring out of me. I couldn't stop.
Super fan.
But, so anyway, we see him again at the fortress. Luthor torturing Jensen, beating the humanity out of him, extracting info from him. Very important to remember that he's extracting Superman's DNA from Parasite. Right?
Doomsday.
Or maybe somebody else.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, it's definitely somebody else. You know, at this time, he's talking to his mom and pa about the way he deals with things. Superman meets Lana. They have a cup of coffee. Things don't seem to be going so well between the two of them. They air out their grievances. Kind of Clark tells about the revelations he's had about the way he needs to balance his life, things like that. Lois comes in. She introduces the new photographer, Jimmy Olsen, to Clark. And then just as Lois kind of takes off, then Parasite comes barreling through the coffee shop again. We kind of get a nice little throwback. I love the scene in Spider-Man 2 when Doc Ock comes in. So it's a little bit of a nod to that.
That is nice.
So you know, they start fighting and stuff, and Superman instantly gets drained a lot of his energy. Basically, Parasite kills Lana Lang, and
all in the first movie.
Kills Lana Lang, and then basically Parasite and Clark or Superman duke it out because Superman's highly weakened at this point. Parasite's a lot stronger, so they're going at it. And then as they're fighting, Parasite starts to monologue a bit about, because he can absorb memories. He's like, Lana loved you, and she was. It starts kind of throwing out that drivel and shit like that. Basically, like she loved you, you let her down, and she was hoping to have more. As he's doing this, he's starting to actually not only know her memories but feel everything she felt. So as he starts going on more and more, by the way, at this time they're both using their heat vision. They're kind of clashing. So they're saying this while their heat vision's clashing. He starts to get an overload of empathy and all this stuff, and like it just enough to Superman to beat the shit out of him. Then Superman grabs up Lana Lang's body, holds it in front of the reporters, because the reporters, Lois, everyone's there now. He's like holding up Lana's dead limp body and saying like, this is the result of Luthor, men who don't care about other people, blah, blah, blah. Kind of not shying away from the ugliness of death. And then he goes over to, the next thing he knows, we cut to Luthor. Luthor's pissed off about everything going on, his name being dragged through the mud. And there's Superman outside of his window carrying Lana's dead body. Goes through the window, says, Luthor, I'm not scared of you. I'm going to prove that this is all tied to you, blah, blah, blah. Shit like that. Then, he takes off saying, hey, you may talk a big game, but I heard your heart beating. You're fucking terrified. Like, I know you are. And then at the very end, it all goes down, and I think the end of the movie is Superman saying he needs to go and investigate places at Amnesty Bay, Central City, Coast City, all this, like telling Perry White, like, hey, there's all these other incidents I'd like to report on. Central City is Flash, Coast City is Green Lantern, Amnesty Bay is Aquaman, things like that, right? Little hints for the audience. Yep. But then the next thing you know is you see the last shot of the movie is you see a black hooded figure creeping over, a tall building, and you see Superman's red boots kind of lower down, and you just hear him say Batman, and that's the end of the movie. So Superman and Batman meeting up, and there's an end credit scene where Luthor is conversing with someone on a TV screen. Luthor not to be challenged, won't be threatened, told himself not to get in public trouble again. Fix it. We have our own vigilante proving to be a thorn in our side. End of a quick shot of a man in an owl mask. Bam. That's my Superman movie. I know it was long. I promise that was the longest portion of all of this too. So sorry to make you sit through that, but that was the longest part. I'm sorry.
He really felt it, wasn't
you?
he?
Yeah, you just wrote the sequel to Man of Steel, bud.
That should have been that should have been Man of Steel #1.
No, I'm sorry, TJ, but I'm gonna have to give it to him. He had a.
I get.
It's obvious that he.
But I do like.
He's
got the passion of Christ, and Superman is the Christ of comic book lore. Okay, he rose from the dead. He died for us.
I was saying in Batman vs Superman, he died for our sins. So you know,
he did die for our sins.
Doomsday,
our
the Antichrist.
Savior. Praise Superman, Clark Kent.
No, but I will say I really did love the aspect that you had with the whole president, Lex running for president,
and then Clark having to defend him even though he doesn't want to.
I love that.
You can mix them. You can. I wasn't married to Toy Man. Just throw Lex as president, and you got.
It's weird. It's weird how you guys are sharing some of the same aspects. The detective movie, Toy Man.
Fucked up minds think alike, man.
Yeah. So. I'd have to go with yours. I really enjoy Parasite. I think that's a great villain to start off with.
Definitely.
Yes, yeah.
The fillings of Lana there.
And then and then I love the whole Lana thing.
Yeah, Lois has been done.
You know what? And I love how ballsy it is. You know, you're taking the love interest and you're killing her off in the first movie. And then with Parasite using his abilities, I love it that you're not just having him where he's using the abilities of just, like, as a lot of people probably would go, he's just absorbing the strength and, you know, the power. But no, he's like absorbing memories and shit, and he's using that shit against him. Yeah. And that's great, because one thing that we that should always be addressed, and it seems like you kind of are addressing it, you know, maybe subconsciously, I don't know if you meant to, but Superman's anger, even though he is a Boy Scout, he has an anger. He has a temper. He has a fucking temper. And
I almost made this Superman versus the Elite, because I really dig that story.
Yeah. And I love that. And then I'm kind of seeing a pattern with the Talon. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm pretty sure TJ will agree with me on with him being a Batman fan. I'm down with the Talon type thing going on. I really like that aspect.
I just like the aspect of the owls that Batman's been around for a while, and here we go with Batman again. But he's been around for a while, and he looks at them as even a folklore, and he can't even believe it when he finds out that they're real. So when that happens,
they have like a floor, a room in every building in Gotham and shit.
I don't want Batman to find out the truth of the owls until like Phase 4 or some shit.
Oh, well, you're not gonna like mine then, but yeah.
Well,
don't worry, they'll find out a little bit later, but. All right,
so I'm gonna say that Jake wins that vote for Superman. Tie on the Batman so far. Jake got the first one.
Well fought, sir.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love, because we're only doing Phase 1 right now. Phase 2, I like the idea of Lex being run for president, because the best part about it is by this point, we've already been introduced to Lex. We've seen this thing. And now we can kind of go like, what the fuck? Why Lex being running for president? The same way a lot of people felt about.
I do like that idea for a future movie.
I do. I really dig that idea.
Lex.
I like the fact that we're seeing the fact of
public enemies.
I know the Superman, he doesn't have to really be Superman. It's more about this hits that your story would hit more on his personality and more of his how smart he is and everything like that, and his morality, and I love that. One thing I do have to ask you, Jake, though.
Yep.
Okay, so how are you going to have it where he's even trying to conceal his identity?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said before, the glasses, the coat, the hunched over posture.
Yeah, I get that. But the thing is, though, is like after this whole Lana Lang death thing, like he obviously can't hide it anymore, right? Because he had all these reports. He had him facing the reporters.
So I have it written down in there that people were scattered away until all of the commotion was done. Then the reporters and things all kind of closed in on it. But they weren't around to hear the dialogue.
Okay, but did they see his face, though?
No, I also had it written down that he changed into the Superman thing really quick after Parasite came barreling in through the coffee shop.
Well, my thing is it takes more than a hat and glasses to conceal an identity.
Look, I didn't fucking make up Superman.
I know that, but why don't you try to fix it? I mean, you're fixing other things. That's like,
if
I was a producer and you're pitching this to me, the first thing I would ask you to do is either make it where he's hiding it throughout the most of the movie. The end of the movie is it's now revealed, because there's no way that he's hiding his identity unless he has some kind of other ability. Or something.
Again, it's something we can rewrite, but it's just something that came to me.
I really dig the scene. Don't get me wrong. I really dig the scene.
Something we'll talk about.
But then I'm just saying, if reporters are coming in and they're taking pictures, and with today's technology, I don't know what time period you're putting this in.
Oh, give me a break. How many times has this motherfucker been in the goddamn newspaper?
I'm not. I'm saying that's my problem with Superman.
All right. Well, we can address it later.
We'll address it later. Okay.
All right.
You still got my vote, but.
All right. So TJ, what's your next movie? I got Wonder Woman next up on my slate.
We can do Wonder Woman.
All right. Let's hear your Wonder Woman movie.
All right.
The one I was least enthusiastic to write about. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Sexist.
I know I've bitched about the two where they've messed up with the characters for Superman and Batman in the previous one. Wonder Woman's no different because Wonder Woman is rated one of the top 5 movies at least, and some sites top movie overall comic book based.
Yeah.
And then you got Captain America: First Avenger, which I like, but it's like 30th on a lot of lists.
It's basically the same movie.
And it's the same movie with a different gender. Okay, ladies? I mean, no ladies are listening to this, and I wish they were so they could hear this. And
that one lady is also the one that's sitting here going, Toy Man's origin.
She's the one.
Toy Man's origin goes back here. Toy Man's a great villain.
No different. It's a worse movie, man. I mean, Ares isn't as good as Red Skull, and Red Skull wasn't even as good as Red Skull could have been.
I was very disappointed in Red Skull too.
But he's not as good, so it's not as good of a movie. But here's where I go with Wonder Woman. You got to bring Steve Trevor in there. Maybe with Steve Trevor coming in there's one storyline, I'm not sure what it was. I was in my research where Steve was the only survivor of a plane crash and there off Themyscira. And instead of that, maybe Steve crashed with Barbara Ann Minerva. Or Minerva.
Oh man, we're using. Okay.
And she comes into it, and maybe there's different alterations on how she's been turned cheetah, but maybe at some point there's one of them where she drinks like a sacrifice of
sacrificial, yeah, like
maybe she drinks some Themysciran liquid that turns her into this by the end of it. I don't necessarily want her as the villain because what I was thinking is more kind of like the Brian Azzarello Blood storyline where you got Hera in there, and she's real jealous of. If I could be wrong on this, but like she's jealous that Zeus created Diana.
Okay.
And she sends. I'm not sure.
I haven't read that one, so I don't know.
I'm not sure who she sent. Some, I think maybe Hercules. I don't know. It was some Greek god that she sent to. You switch that Greek god around with maybe like Giganta or Strife, which is kind of the same character, but they can also shrink down to normal size, and you play on that more. You can bring the big bitch out if you need to at some point. You got a post-credit scene for a cheetah transformation type thing you can set up in that for future movies. It was Hercules, actually. I'm looking at this note. It was Hercules who was the enforcer there. And another thing that where they messed up is DC made their Wonder Woman Captain America. Captain America is the Boy Scout Superman for DC, where Wonder Woman is more like Thor, and Asgard is your Themyscira, your mystical place. You know, you even got a gladiator ring with gladiators, just like we seen in Thor Ragnarok. You know, and that's really where they messed up. And here's my most interesting take of it from Earth One Grant Morrison: Themyscira is a lesbian island. Where the fuck was that in the movie? Okay, I want to see that shit.
There's my titties.
And then by the end of it, Steve Trevor converts her over. Okay, you got your total Chasing Amy moment in there.
Piss off so
Shout out to Kevin
right?
Smith.
Oh, shit.
I mean, he transverts her. Hey, at TJ Bane on Twitter. Let me know what you think. Okay. One word: TJBANE. Let me know what you think about that. But that's where they messed up. Okay. You got your Chasing Amy moment.
All right.
And that's all I really think. I mean, you got Giganta in there. You know, I don't want to do Ares again. I want to save Cheetah for something later on down the road. And there you go, Jake. Let's hear your pitch of Wonder Woman.
All right, so mine is Wonder Woman, working title Wonder Woman Mortal. Okay, so there got some similarities to yours. I do use Cheetah as my main villain, though, in this one. So I picture the opening scene being kind of like the Incredible Hulk, with Edward Norton and all that stuff just kind of breezing by, but with a little bit of the animated Hercules movie where it's all like ancient relics and stuff where they did their storytelling on that. So we get the backstory of Diana being molded from clay. Yes, I want the molded from clay origin. We're getting all this, and we're being told this by the daughter of one of the Titans, Hecate. And she's actually a god who's an oracle. And she's telling all this entire story to Cersei. Now, this is all back in the day, right? This is whew, I can smell that. Yeah, that's some whiskey or tequila. So Anyway, so this is back in the day. This is, a long time ago when Diana was first born. She basically gets the prophecy that Hippolyta's daughter, it will be the downfall of Circe. It'll be the death of Circe, right? So fast forward to today, Diana is living in Paris. She's working at a museum as a curator, also giving guided tours, right? Diana is giving a guided tour in the Greek mythology portion of the museum, talking about a trinket of Hercules from his feats in Kondak. A little throw to Black Adam / Shazam. Just a little mention right there to let us know that this place exists. I mean, why wouldn't it? He's the wizard Shazam, talks about the speed of Mercury and wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, all that. So it should be somewhat tied into Greek mythology. So why not give it a little nod there? Okay. Also back in the backstory, Hecate, talks to the prophecy and all this stuff, and that's why Zeus chose a certain race of women to live in Themyscira, while Circe's women and her people were basically cornered over to this doomed island. It's a weird name, Aea, A-E-A-E-A. I don't know why they say it, but
Aea!
Sounds like a Nelly song.
It's fucking weird.
Mommy,
but I don't know.
All right,
like Gaia, but with an A, Aya, something like that. Anyway, so after the tour, Diana's talking to her friend. There's a nice banter between the two of them that lets us know that they're friends and they've known each other a while, shit like that. Her name is Barbara Ann Minerva. So we get the idea that Barbara is spoiled, vain, and she kind of sees herself above all the other, regular people because she owns this fucking museum. Okay, so Barbara says that she's got this call from Rome, and there's this artifact that she'd like to secure for the museum. Diana goes over there on her way there. She stops over in like Israel or something and stops some kind of conflict going on, but doesn't realize that she's intervening, and it looks almost like a political agenda that she has, and both sides of this battle start like throwing shit at her and disparaging her and all this shit. She's like, what the fuck? Kind of learning that her place in the world is not yet defined, and she doesn't really understand why people in the world just can't all harmonize and just get along, globally. Because she has, in her mind, she's got the answers. Like, look, everyone can get along, all that shit, right? So, anyway, she kind of packs up, realizing she's kind of been defeated there, goes to Rome, talks to this woman. Oh, Diana doesn't know, but we as the audience know this is Circe. Circe's handing her over something called the God Killer knife, right? And she starts talking about the God Killer knife, and in ancient Greek mythology, it was the knife of the goddess of the hunt, right? And her earthly avatar was the cheetah. So she's like, here, take this if you want this for your museum, whatever. Diana decides before she heads back to the museum, she's going to go to Themyscira and talk to Hippolyta about it and get some more information about it. And Hippolyta tells her shit like, I don't know, basically about the God Killer knife, gives her like the real information.
I want to pause you for a second. You guys can't see this, but the guy who just stood here said, "Oh, I wasn't really feeling about it."
I'm not. This one.
He has like pages and pages of notes.
I was struggling to write this one, but anyway, so
it really doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it was a tough one to write. It really was. So she gives Diana more information about how sometimes it would demand a blood sacrifice, and Zeus saw fit to divide up the pantheon of gods and regulate the Amazons to Themyscira. All the stuff that we kind of already got touched on before, and how the last people there was during the God Wars when the God Killer knife was lost, and it ended up in the mortals world and stuff like that. Diana heads back towards Paris and she stops into the States for something to eat, seeing something about herself on the news about how she's not seen as like a welcome presence in Israel and shit like that. It starts to kind of rub her the wrong way, and she gets a little angry, breaks a table, decides she's going to head off. At this point, she meets Superman. Superman comes like, hey, you mind if we have a word together? Superman and Diana talk about how he's adopted and living among humans is kind of taught him a lot about how, it's really easy with the powers that we have to kind of fly over the people and look down on them almost as gods, but what we really should be doing is living among them with our feet on the ground. It's kind of a nice throwback to a Paul Dini story that he wrote for Wonder Woman that I really liked. And basically says like, look, we can't make their decisions for them. Men operate in shades of gray. You have to take the good with the bad because, without the ugly, we wouldn't really be able to recognize the good. And so you just have to learn to understand them.
Take the good, take the bad.
Shit like that, yeah.
And then you have the facts of life.
Okay. Moving on. They say their goodbyes. Diana heads back to Paris to see Barbara. She relays info about from Cersei and Hippolyta. Cersei stages a robbery of the God-Killer knife using a talon, one of the talons, right?
Okay.
And it breaks in, it gets the knife. Barbara's the only one there. As she tries to stop the Talon, the knife slices Barbara before Wonder Woman gets there. Wonder Woman comes, kills Talon, but she's already been sliced with the God-Killer knife. Now she starts to slowly turn into the cheetah. Cersei shows up to tell Barbara that, her mind is, or, to kind of convince Barbara that Diana is using her and she's the enemy and all this shit. To basically turn Barbara against Wonder Woman. Cersei finally makes her presence known to Diana, gives the whole spiel about the prophecy and how Diana can't stand in the way of her larger plans. So at this point, we know Cersei has larger plans, and her goal is to just get Diana off the chessboard so she can fulfill them. That way, the prophecy can never come true. They go into battle, they attack, they fight. Diana and Cheetah fight. She's never been wounded before the way that Cheetah is able to because of the powers of the Cheetah. She finds out she can't turn Barbara back. She heads back to Themyscira to the Sorcerer's Stone about Cersei and how to find Barbara. Destruction fight. Wonder Woman beats Cheetah. Cheetah goes to Iron Heights, and Amanda Waller shows up. Cersei kind of uses her magic to escape. Wonder Woman learns that she can't save men from their own fate. She agrees to be the ambassador of Themyscira after publicly announcing herself as a hero for Earth. And then at the end, we see Cersei, Luthor, and Talon all meet before the Court of Owls. The end credit scene is Batman investigating the museum wreckage, talking with Diana, cataloging the missing items, realizing one thing is missing, the gauntlets of Atlas.
All right.
All right, sorry. I know, they're long. My bad.
No, it's...
No. You just did, you did your homework.
You did.
But once again, I can't help but notice you guys are like, it's like you guys
have
are
a lot of
offering-
similarities, yeah.
A lot of similarities, because the one thing you addressed was they took her and they made her like the Captain America of the DC universe, and really she needs to be more like Thor, and that's pretty much what he's addressing.
She's a god.
Yeah, and that's what he's addressing in this. I mean, he went more. He bored us a little bit more about it.
Sorry.
But you said it straight up. I'm just gonna throw it out there, real quick. I still haven't got my dick or titties yet, guys.
Oh,
I have lesbians. What do you think goes with that? What do you think goes with that, man?
Cersei and Diana had a naked scene together, by the way. When they met for the first time, it was under a waterfall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bathing.
Both of them? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Slippery and wet.
All right.
Steve brings her back from the dark side.
Oh, God. Okay, with that being said, we're just going to say Jake won.
All right. Oh, that's a PC vote.
You know what? It's PC as fuck, and I'm going to go with it.
But I do like a couple of the elements that you use. I probably want to throw that
I
in.
know. I mean, well, that's the hardest part about judging these. Like, you guys are pretty much saying, except for the Superman. I'm sorry, I knocked the table. Except for Superman, I mean, you guys are pretty much hitting the same ideas, the same concepts. It's kind of weird. I almost feel like I said before.
It's almost like we understand these characters better than the people making the movies.
Right? It's kind of weird.
Maybe we should
and
have
you know
a
what?
job.
And to be honest, and I don't disagree with any of these, any of your guys'. I really don't disagree with any of your guys' opinions on what should happen, because they are so far. I agree with them all, except for his sexist remark.
I do want to say though, the Wonder Woman movie I would most want to write has nothing to do with it. Like, I found out while writing this that Wonder Woman was the hardest one to tie in because her mythology doesn't lend itself to like the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, her rogues gallery sucks, to be honest. And I didn't want to do Ares. He's already been done, but to try and tie her into the rest of the world as a Phase 1 world-building movie, you can't do the movie what I would want to do, which would be a god war, which would be the war between the Titans and the gods, and Wonder Woman having to get in the middle and choose a side.
Why couldn't you do that?
How does that tie into the rest of the movies? It would be a pointless movie to have in the Phase 1.
They did it with Thor.
Yeah, but Thor still tied in because it went to Earth. Most of the movie of Thor
that's because the main
took place
villain
on
in
Earth.
Avengers was from Thor.
Yeah, and while the majority of the Thor movie took place on Earth.
And you can't really use a main villain like one of the rogues from Wonder Woman to really make it.
Yeah, so I was like, the movie I would really want to do for Wonder Woman would be a straight up swords and sandals Greek mythology movie.
But you can always do
Yeah,
it.
you don't have to leave Themyscira the whole flick, man.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I would prefer to do. That'd be the Wonder Woman movie I would want to do and see.
Yeah. That was the coolest part of that, man. With that movie was seeing Themyscira, I thought.
Seeing Themyscira, but the acting and writing in Themyscira was bad.
The action, all that stuff was just terrible, man.
Yeah.
The scenes jumping off the horses, I know that everybody
defying
loved it,
physics for some reason.
It didn't look natural whatsoever.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that's not the movie I would most want to do for Wonder Woman, but to tie it in and to establish her in this universe, this is the movie I felt like I had to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, with some of these movies, and the same with Marvel had to do it with theirs. You gotta sometimes put out those slightly cringeworthy movies. Not all of them can be gold to get to where your
as long as they're serviceable and they're good enough.
Yeah,
I think
have to be decent
my
movies.
Wonder Woman movie is my least favorite movie that I've got. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know. You have a lot written down for her.
Yeah.
I hate to see
that was
your
a
Flash.
struggle.
I'm hating to see your Flash.
My Flash is up next, but it's not as long. You saw me writing it today at the shop.
Yeah,
I tried to be a lot more brief and a lot more vague about this one.
Okay, I'm interested in hearing what TJ got down for the Flash.
All right, let's hear it, TJ.
Because I'm liking a lot. I'm agreeing with a lot of his stuff, but yeah.
Look, Jake's gonna get Flash because Flash. Let's start off with the bitching again.
No Ezra Miller. Let's just say that.
No, we're not even gonna mention Ezra Miller.
Okay. Well, we just
okay. Where they really messed up was
Ezra
the
Miller.
Flash television show. I really wish, seeing this DCW, that they would have just did 1 or 2 seasons of Flash, 1 or 2 seasons of Arrow, and then they should have went on and did a 1 or 2 seasons of Aquaman, 1 or 2 seasons of Batman, and then you bring in a Justice League movie and you have a movie universe, and then you do individual movies, and that's the way you catch up with the MCU if they wanted to do that. They should have took Barry out, the Grant Gustin Barry Allen, because he's brilliant in it, and only did a couple seasons. But at this point, that they're too far into the lore to even try to cross it over, I feel. Same with Arrow. You brought Suicide Squad in, and it was over from then.
Yeah.
Of trying to cross the two over.
I'm okay with Stephen Amell not being Green Arrow in the movies, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there.
As long as he's on the salmon ladder, I'll watch.
Oh, yeah, you would. You lesbian.
Okay, so how I would do my first Flash movie is I would... Flash hasn't been Flash for very long. He hasn't really been in very many fights. And my first movie would be Flashpoint.
Ballsy move.
Yeah, I know. That really is a ballsy move.
I don't think that'll be done whatsoever. But
all right, let's hear it out.
No, I'm joking all aside. I'm kind of stabbing because they're doing Flashpoint when he's never even been in a single fight whatsoever. I mean, it's just a dumbass move. It's a stupid move.
Thank you.
And I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Okay, so it was a joke.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
It was a bad joke. I'm so sorry.
I mean, because I kind of feel for actually go away because he's like,
you guys are serious?
I thought you was, and I was like,
smack me down. I know I'm the guest here, but come on, man.
I was like, you know what? I'll hear it out before I completely.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear your opinion on how you.
I don't have a Flash movie that's very good, man. I would want to do season 1 of what they did in the television show, The Flash, because the particle accelerator was just a great thing to give everybody their powers. And you've already seen it. You got another speedster, but at the same time, I almost want to do a Rogues movie or Cold or something like that, and I just don't know the character that well other than what I've seen from the show, and from what I've seen from the show, what they did in season 1 was just brilliant, and they should have done it in a 2.5 hour movie. So I'm sure Jake's is going to be better.
Minus Team Flash?
Yeah, you ain't got to do Team Flash.
Yeah, okay.
I was kind of worried. And don't get me wrong, I like Team Flash in the show.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
But any other kind of medium,
the main plot points that from that whole season 1 of Barry just learning his ways with the power. He doesn't really know about the Speed Force yet. The particle accelerator, like I said, gave everybody the powers. I really love the Thawne, killing his mom, angle that they play out in the first one, especially because it leads up to do Flashpoint later on down the road where he already knows that this dude traveled back in time. So it's a possibility for me, and here they are doing the time travel when he hasn't even been in a fight, the first flick. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. And I don't know how they're going to pull it off. Yeah. And the Flash is Jake's dude, and I didn't have a good pitch on this whatsoever.
So what you're saying is you're
I'm throwing in the towel,
You're throwing
man.
in the towel.
I know it's over, okay? I really don't know.
You know what? It's
Season
okay.
1 of The Flash.
It's okay.
But we've seen it, so let's not do it. And I don't know. I'm stumped.
I've heard some real bad bullshit come out of this motherfucker's mouth before. So
you could do Gorilla City really good, but I don't. It's too early for
with
first Flash
me and
movie.
him. Like, when it comes to The Flash, I don't think that me and you really agree on a lot of things, except for our Barry Allen and where we meet up is Ezra Miller. So let's see if I can trash your Flash movie.
All right, fine. Mine is Flash, working title Flash, moving forward. Okay?
Okay, move forward.
All right, so quick little recap of how he got his powers. Again, I don't want to see the lightning bolt, but it's not a particle accelerator in this one. It's like the traditional get struck by a lightning bolt covered in chemicals and stuff. No particle accelerator brought it on. That's cool. Just happenstance. It's in the Flash comics, it's almost destiny or fate that it happened to him, right?
Yeah, like it almost as if it was chosen,
destined by the Speed Force in a way, right?
Destined by the Speed Force.
Anyway, so Barry is kind of trying to learn about the Speed Force more and more. He's investigating the Speed Force, trying to understand it,
writing notes, going all over the wall.
Yeah, just trying to. He's just
shit.
Sure. Anyways, while he's doing this, Star Labs has a giant gorilla in captivity that they're studying, making comments that the staff haven't really been acting themselves lately. Flash finds men in Star Labs uniforms committing crimes. He traces back to Star Labs, discovers a gorilla named Grodd in a cage. Next thing he does is he finds himself robbing a bank in Coast City, thousands of miles away. So he's at Star Labs, going, what the hell is this gorilla? Next thing he knows is he's just robbed a bank in Coast City. He's greeted by a man in a mask, a green costume, who's flying. They have a little fight out. Turns out it's Green Lantern. Green Lantern stops him. Flash lets him know what just happened, all he can remember. He heads back to Central City and finds that all of the law enforcement, cops, firefighters, everybody, even politicians, have all been kind of huddled together in this mass in the center of Central City. And lo and behold, there's a giant gorilla with a piece of technology on his head, kind of controlling these people. Oh, I did. Yeah. I went there.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be my most sci-fi type movie.
The one I thought about, like, no way you can't do with the first Flash movie. Keep going. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to continue here.
Okay,
I'm kind of.
All right, so he returns to the most metropolitan area of a huddled enforcement and politicians. Grodd assembled all of these people to build himself a new city so he's basically trying to like terraform this city. Not terraform, but like reform the city to recreate a gorilla city. Right? He wants to turn Central City into the new gorilla city. And he also built a device that amplifies his telepathic abilities. Flash gets people out, one at a time, and dodges attacks from other people, realizing that his Speed Force interrupts Grodd's telepathic abilities. Barry uses his speed attacks to shut out his telepathic abilities and to shut him down altogether. After researching, realized that his Speed Force is actually what created Grodd's abilities, and because the Speed Force spans all time, past and present. It doesn't matter when it happened. It just matters that even though Gorilla City, he finds out, is hundreds and hundreds of years old, him being struck by that lightning and creating the Speed Force created the Speed Force way long ago, creating Gorilla City. So basically, the Speed Force created the intelligent gorillas. Anyways, and also hints that he can travel through time because, Grodd is turned over to Project Cadmus. Another Amanda Waller cameo, and we also find out that Cadmus is actually a sub-corporation of LexCorp. Flash heads over to Gotham to find Batman, telling him that he found Grodd was moved from a zoo in Gotham. So when Grodd was originally found, he was in a zoo in Gotham, and then transferred over to Central City. And he tells Batman that he found something about Cadmus, and this triggers Batman's kind of detective stuff. The end credits scene is Amanda Waller turning Grodd over to Luthor and Cersei, escorted by Talons.
Okay. All right.
Again, I didn't go in depth with this one because I was time crunch, and it can leave more, and we can do more later.
Okay. I'm impressed, man. I mean, I like I said, Gorilla City was the only thing that I haven't seen done on the show that's really major from the Flash
Well, it actually was done.
Yeah, it was done.
But
yeah,
and it was pretty much the same
into
concept that he had, where it's kind of like the Speed Force. I mean,
it's actually from the New 52.
Yeah.
New 52.
There's so many speedsters in that show; it's hard to remember.
Yeah, I didn't want to do a speedster yet.
I feel you there, man.
Yeah.
So, can I rebuttal your guys' vote, and like instead of sitting here talking about your guys' vote, can I give my opinion on what my first phase Flash movie would be?
Yeah, I'd love to hear this.
Okay, I'll just give it. I'm coming off this.
Fuck him up.
I'm coming up with this off the top of my head. I didn't get time to sit here and write pages of notes. Okay, so what I would start off with is early years Flash, kind of like what you said.
That's what I did.
But yeah, and have it traditional.
Okay.
Have it traditional like you did. Yep. And I don't know exactly.
Like missionary position traditional.
Missionary position traditional.
So white bread.
I want to see Iris West with her legs up and around the speedster.
Dude,
and then I want to see how long he can actually last.
Iris is a total reverse cowgirl type chick. Come on.
Oh yeah, she really is.
Come on.
She's like, don't look at my face.
You know how many chicks Flash
One move's bigger than the other.
Without them even knowing. That's a superpower. God damn it.
Okay, so what I would do, first villain I would do is I would do Vibe.
Vibe?
Yeah,
All right, let's hear this, because I know he's got this like weird hard-on for Vibe.
It's
like
not
Cisco?
like a weird hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cisco. Okay,
As a villain?
Yes.
Is he a villain in the comics?
No, he's not a villain in the comics. He's actually a pretty much just a gullible idiot. Okay, in the comic books, I would go with New 52's Vibe and just a small little fragment that happens in it. He is tricked. Vibe is tricked into joining Amanda Waller pretty much on to join a certain Justice League. That's the main purpose of this Justice League is to be able to take out certain members of the Justice League. Yep, exactly.
With Arsenal and...
Yes, exactly. And Vibe was picked out pretty much just so because he can use his powers to disconnect Wally and Barry from the Speed Force. So I would have that be the villain. Have Vibe be tricked into trying to stop the Flash.
This would be your very first Flash movie?
Yeah.
I veto.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't go with fucking Gorilla Grodd, though.
I'm going Gorilla Grodd.
Why would you go Gorilla Grodd on your very first
Because it makes
one?
sense for the next movie, dick.
Yeah, it
makes sense for the next movie.
Where are you going with the next movie? Well, we can't get there.
Plus, Gorilla Grodd would be a badass villain. One, he's not a speedster. Two, we've seen how...
Vibe is not a speedster.
Right, but this has nothing to do with cutting him off from his powers. We want to see Flash use his fucking powers.
Yeah, but we want to like, you have to have him having a fight where he can actually, like, there's like a thing going on.
Yeah, but
and then also the other thing too is
if Grodd's telepathic abilities interfere with the Speed Force, it becomes tough, but it doesn't wipe him away from his speed altogether.
Yeah, okay, but see, Vibe can disconnect him for a short period of time. It's not like he completely disconnects him. He disconnects him for a short period of time. So, and the other thing too is Vibe can also go through time, different dimensions or universes and stuff. So you could have
you could do in another Flash movie. I just don't think it's a good idea for your very first Flash movie.
You know, I don't think Grodd's a good one for the first.
That's fine. I think Grodd's great for the first one because one, again, he's not a speedster. He's somebody who can fucking go toe to toe with the Flash and
you go Captain
win.
Cold?
I was gonna do Captain Cold, but he's not good enough. He's not somebody I would want to use for the next movie.
All right, let me.
Captain Cold is my favorite Flash villain.
You guys know more about Flash than I do. So if you were to have a Flash movie with, say, Captain Cold and some, or if not all, the Rogues, and it was led by Captain Cold, yeah.
Ah, Barry.
Yeah, see? It was led by Captain Cold the whole time.
He'd prefer Citizen Cold.
Citizen Cold.
So if it was led by him, how would you go Rogues movie?
Oh, dude, that's well, let's get into that another time.
Okay.
That would be my second movie, to be honest.
See, and like, I don't have time to write it down, but if you want me to, just to show you what I'm talking about, I will go through and I'll write my own.
I'm sorry, but out of all the rogues that Flash has, Vibe is not somebody I give a fuck.
I wouldn't have it be like the Vibe be the only one.
I gotta agree with that, man.
I would make Vibe is a lot more powerful than what people.
I don't care if he's powerful. He's just not somebody I'm itching to see as a Flash villain.
I'm not itching to see Gorilla Grodd.
That's fine. You don't
Save
have to
that
be.
shit for Planet of the Apes.
Hey guys, let's just do Flashpoint.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Let's Flashpoint this whole.
This is probably exactly how the whole thing went down. They're sitting there going like arguing like, okay, what the fuck, Gorilla Grodd, really?
I'm gonna Flashpoint this whole fucking podcast. We're starting over from scratch.
Josh doesn't get to give out his fucking opinion.
I'm deleting everything he just said.
Oh fuck you! I'm just saying, and I wouldn't have it where he would stay the villain. I'd have it where he is.
Oh, a sympathetic villain.
No, I would have him like stop, and then he realizes that what he's doing is he's thinking he's stopping a villain, but really he's actually stopping.
I'm sorry, Vibe is just not somebody I want to see as a villain. I don't really. I mean, out of all the fucking rogues, Gorilla Grodd's one of his toughest rogues. Why not use him?
I wouldn't use him for the first movie.
Who would you? I mean, I would have used Captain Cold, but he's not strong enough. He's not a strong enough villain for your first
villain. What about Mirror Master? Mirror Master is cool.
To me,
who doesn't know anything
I
about
do like Mirror Master. He's interesting,
Yeah.
but there's too many loopholes that you could find in a Mirror Master movie because it's
you can't find any loopholes with Captain Cold.
You could find plenty. Do you know anything about Absolute Zero?
Why not a Rogues movie?
No.
Okay. Then why not a Rogues movie?
A Rogues movie because you gotta build up those rogues. Individually.
You know what we could do?
That's why I'm going. Look, this is why I'm going.
Trapped
Grodd.
in
If you want
Speed Force movie that we were talking about earlier.
That's not a good movie for the first movie.
You know what? Fuck it. Flash doesn't get a first movie. Or we do what I originally said that you said was so blasphemy. We kill him off.
So me and you are vetoing him, right?
Kill who?
Barry Allen. Kill him off. I want to see Barry Allen dead.
Right away?
Not right away, actually. That's kind of hard.
So me and TJ are vetoing yours. Because I'm assuming you don't want to see his Flash movie either.
I don't care about Vibe as a villain, dude.
I wouldn't keep him as a villain the whole time. Granted, I didn't get 2 weeks to come up with an idea.
Yeah, but you have been gushing over Vibe for a long time, and this is your one chance to go, ooh, I could put Vibe in a movie.
It would work.
No, it wouldn't.
I thought you said you weren't about Team Flash, bud.
The whole thing is, this Vibe is actually, I'm more about Vibe in the comic
So
books
make a
than I am
Vibe
about
movie.
the
How about
TV
you do a Vibe
series.
movie for another phase?
Because he's not a big enough character to do by himself.
Exactly.
So you could put him as a minor
Vibe
character.
for a TV series spinoff.
You could do a minor character. But see, the thing is, though, it's like, Vibe's
Do you
powers
really want
are
to see
really
Flash
amplified.
versus Vibe? Is that the movie you've been waiting to see?
No, I wouldn't
Okay.
have, see, you're not listening to me.
I
wouldn't
am.
have it be like that. That's his main villain. I'm saying that would be
Who's the main
one
villain?
fight. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'm coming up with this on top of my fucking
Okay, so
head.
your idea is basically I want to see Vibe, and here's how I'm going to do that.
I just think it'd be interesting because it's one character who, legitimately can disconnect.
Guys, let us know in the
Speed Force.
comments section how badly you want to see
Who the
Vibe.
hell? What's up with Alchemy?
Alchemy's... Fuck him.
No
No,
Alchemy.
no Alchemy.
Okay.
No. I want to stick... If you're going to do a Flash movie, stick to some of the traditional rogues like
Okay, we'll
Top,
stick to-
Weather Wizard,
Bug-Eyed
Golden
Bandit.
Glider. No. Grodd, Reverse Flash.
Not Grodd on the first movie. It's too big of a
Cold,
character, man.
Heat Wave.
I agree with that. I don't
think it's
see
too
a
big of a
Flash
character.
yet. We need comments on this.
Yeah,
a lot of comments.
we need some opinions because apparently we all do not agree with our stories.
That's fine. So, anyways,
Wow.
let's go on to your Trinity movie.
How do you know it's a Trinity movie?
I mean, let's go on to your next movie.
Okay. Well, Trinity is my next movie, and Trinity's going up against Lex Luthor again because he's still there because Superman saved him. And Lex is basically the Loki, for this phase 1 right here. He's there as your villain at the end. You got Cheetah who transformed there at the end of it. You got Riddler, who possibly outsmarted Batman, who would be interesting to see with Lex working together, I think. And then whatever Flash villain you could throw in there. If it's Captain Cold, they've all been Legion members. You don't even have to call it a lame name like Legion. You can even just call it the Secret Society of Villains, or cooler yet, but it doesn't make much sense as a fan because it's the Crime Syndicate, because that's all alternate versions.
Yeah, it's like
Owlman, all that,
Ultraman.
Ultraman.
Yeah.
But you can call it the Crime Syndicate because are you ever really going to get to the Crime Syndicate?
I was thinking about it in like a phase 4 maybe.
Damn, man, you are way ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I could probably come up with a better idea for a movie if I had all the time that you have.
We intentionally didn't give you because you were supposed to just judge our movies, not throw your
Well,
fucking
I'm sorry,
hat in the
both
ring.
your guys' flashes were awful. Sorry for interrupting your Trinity.
Vibe is garbage.
My movie I'm doing
Your dick is
for the
garbage.
Trinity versus the Crime Syndicate, I'm going to call them, is Lex Foreman as president, and he's doing the Public Enemies storyline. And you got Cheetah in there. You get Lex in the mechanical suit by the end of it, which you haven't seen in the movie yet, and I'd love to see Lex in that awesome-ass armored suit. He's imprisoned by the end of it, no longer president, impeachment. Again, some interesting political storylines that might parallel things in today's society. Who knows what the future brings. But, you said Lex carving up a soup. I don't want to say that because it may be part of your next movie. So
no, it's probably not good.
basically, That's it. You got the crime syndicate consisting of everybody that you've seen up against that, and maybe even Wonder Woman plays the Power Girl role where she's kind of confused. Batman and Superman have already made a friendship with each other. That you've seen the hidden scenes where Lex and them, maybe you hint at it throughout it, also of them hanging out prior to that. But she can play your Power Girl character where she's just like, well, why would I be against the President of the United States?
Oh, yeah. So you are taking from Public Enemies.
Yeah, a lot of it. But, I mean, and, Cheetah even, Cheetah's typically a rich, comes from a rich family. So you can tie that into the Lex Luthor family, that maybe that's where their shit is, and she goes to Lex with her after she drank this thing from Themyscira, which you went with Wonder Woman on Jake.
Well, it's okay.
That was my story. So basically, you're doing Public Enemies, which isn't a storyline. I know they made the movie out of, or the cartoon out of it, which isn't all that.
It's not bad, but
no, it's not bad. But a lot of people haven't seen it, so
right.
You could play it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the movies, and another thing also before, because this is the final movie for the Phase 1. I want to mention, you mentioned Oliver Queen missing from your Batman movie.
Oh, I also had that in Superman too, by the way.
But other things I was thinking that you could sprinkle in there that we don't need to see necessarily, but would be cool just to reference, is like saying maybe like Gotham City District Attorney terribly scarred in court today, and you see that in the Flash movie that we still haven't decided what's going on. Or maybe you say that a plane lost transmission somewhere over the Bermuda Triangle and was found miraculously with all passengers alive 3,000 miles away from
in
where
Amnesty
they lost.
Bay.
Yeah, I mean, just, you leave little clues that, hey, Aquaman's out there, Two-Face is all fucked up somewhere now.
I like that.
But, Public Enemies anyway, back to Trinity. I just wanted to throw those other little Easter
So is it
eggs
called
in
Trinity or Public Enemies?
You call it Crime Syndicate.
Ooh.
I like that.
Crime Syndicate. I like that too. Yeah, okay. All right. I dig it. All right. So mine is called World's Finest, okay, which is traditionally like usually a Batman-Superman team-up, but it doesn't have to be. So your lineup is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Flash. That's your World's Finest team right now, okay? I didn't have a lot of time to put this one together.
Oh, really? You didn't?
No, you saw me doing this like an hour ago.
There's 12 pages there, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? You have a novel.
Anyway, so you just jump right into it, and each respective villain attacks their heroes unsuspectedly, similar to like the OMAC Project or Justice League Doom, whichever you prefer. All the heroes are successful. Batman tells Clark. Clark says that he heard from Diana. I don't remember what I meant by this. Hey, I was attacked by this person and I was attacked by this person. So Clark, Diana, and Batman are all fucking connect. They're connected to each other. Fucking what? Communication. They're all in communication with each other. Okay. Batman reveals that everything he's found connects all these villains for this organization called the Court of Owls that settled in Gotham hundreds of years ago, somewhat to the Illuminati, kind of like the Illuminati. They've been branching out throughout the world and influencing other people and other things like that. They all head to Cadmus. They corner Amanda Waller, and they see she isn't scared. Grodd breaks out. All the heroes find themselves back at Wayne Manor. Batman's kind of freaking out, like, how the fuck did we get here, and how do you guys know where I'm at? Then they kind of go about sharing with each other their identities, who they are and stuff like that. Bruce is kind of forced to since they're all at his house. Flash shows up at Wayne Manor saying Grodd broke out, and they kind of all do their introductions with Flash. Batman is like, hey, how the fuck did you get in here? Flash is like, look, dude, I'm a forensic scientist, plus you're not really hiding it all that well. You need to probably beef up security a little bit.
So this is why you need Grodd so bad, so you have a reason for Flash to go to.
Yeah.
Anyways.
This is a lame reason.
Batman starts piecing things together more and more. They all split up to take out their respective villains again. Batman heads to Arkham and finds that there is an actual labyrinth underneath of Arkham.
What?
Yeah, like we got from the Batman and Superman movie, the term labyrinth.
Yeah.
This labyrinth is actually connected to all different parts of the city, things like that. This is how the Court of Owls have been kind of maneuvering through Gotham.
Are you going to ask if David Bowie's going to be in it?
Can we put a hologram of David Bowie in it?
Yeah, and his dick protruding through his pants a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Wins the movie.
I knew it. You needed this.
I'm happy. I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
bad guy.
As Batman goes down to the labyrinth while all the other guys are kind of taking out their respective villains, Batman finds himself surrounded by a team. Luthor, Talon, Cheetah, Circe, Grodd, and Parasite.
Okay, it's about the same thing.
Yes, you got a little bit of a Legion
like,
of Doom thing going on.
What some people would call a crime syndicate.
Or a Legion of Doom.
Or a Legion of Doom.
And then they find out that, and during this, they find out that Grodd actually has the Gauntlets of Atlas, which has actually been amplifying his ability even more for his telepathic abilities, influencing people throughout the country and throughout the world. And they've been using that and the heroes. Anyway, so Talon attacks, and Batman calls everybody else because he actually gave a communicator, a little signal thing to all of them so they all know where to converge if somebody were to use their thing, kind of like in Hellboy. So then they all come, they all clash, everyone fights, the bad guys get defeated. Luthor actually escapes clean because they find out when they took down Luthor that he was actually a robot. So as Luthor made an android version of himself to keep all DNA.
How Dr. Doom of him.
I kind of took it from Dr. Doom as a Doombot. but basically, so there's no DNA. Luthor cannot be connected to this whatsoever. So he gets out squeaky clean. Circe uses her magic to just escape. Cheetah and Grodd and Parasite are all incarcerated back at Iron Heights. Talon actually does his what do they call it when samurai commit suicide? He does one of those things.
I think they call it suicide.
No, I forget what there's a term for it, but Talon does that.
Like when they dishonor their
Amanda
family.
Waller is able to actually wiggle herself out of this, saying she was under the influence of Grodd. Luthor had a robot, blah blah blah.
I think TJ is under the influence of Grodd.
But then where we see where we see Luthor next is actually in his lab at his company, and we see a body inside of like a hyperbaric chamber, and on it is the atomic symbol for Krypton. It's a uppercase K, lowercase R.
Okay.
And then then we see all the four heroes discussing their future plans if they're ever needed again, and World's Finest.
Okay.
Man, you lost me at Batman Knows the Court already.
I know. I saw that. I
saw
you.
It's too early.
But the thing is that he didn't take down the Court of Owls. He's just now connecting the dots with the Court of Owls.
I don't want him to know about it yet.
Oh, well, hey, that's my movie.
I want it to be a big, I mean, I respect it. Like I respect gay sex. But, I mean.
But he's not about
your choice.
It's all about it. You know what I mean?
It's your choice, but you don't have to like it, I guess.
Well, God damn it. I had the fucking.
Yeah, I saw you.
Grodd has to be in the Flash movie.
See?
That makes
you like it then, huh?
I like what it ends up being.
Yep.
I don't like it the idea of it at first, but I like what it ends up being. He has to be the Phase 1 villain.
Man, yeah, but
it just sucks that you're starting off with a bang of a villain,
but he's not killed off.
He isn't killed off, but
let me ask.
The only person who gets killed off is actually William Cobb, the Talon,
and Lena Lang. Poor girl.
And Lena Lang's dead too.
All she did was
love Superman. Love the wrong man.
Jimmy Olsen's still alive. That's all I care about.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen's still good.
I don't give a shit about Lena Lang.
He actually gets the front page cover photo of him holding
Jimmy
Lana.
Olsen with the red hair and freckles and everything. Okay, I want to see it.
Well, Jimmy Olsen's supposed to be us, the audience.
Once again, it's funny how there is parallels between your guys' stories. It's obvious that
you don't do Justice League. Yeah, but I don't.
We didn't want to do Justice League for the first phase. We both agreed on that.
Yeah, no, I like how your guys' your guys' villain lineup for the class at the end is almost the same, just a little characters here and there not being the same, but that's about it. I mean,
let me ask you, Jake. Did you come up with Grodd for World's Finest before you came up with Grodd for Flash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I can tell that, but I have to say, it makes sense, and I think
you could do a good job with it in a Flash movie. If I was able to flesh it out a little bit better, the way I did the Superman movie, you guys would probably be like, "Wow, yeah, I like that."
Wasn't sitting there arguing
something more in depth with that down the road.
Perhaps we will.
Yeah, perhaps so.
If we get fucking Judgy McJudgerson over here to fucking sign off on it.
Okay, here's the deal. This is Grodd's such a big character, and I just hate the fact that he's the first one. But
oh yeah, like in Spider-Man when he was Green Goblin first.
You still have the Rogues. You still have Zoom. I mean,
yeah, you still
really,
have,
what are you doing? Like 4 or 5 Flash movies?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many other characters you can take from.
So you got to use them some point.
Who says Grodd doesn't come back at some point anyway?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like, dude, I mean, Captain America used Red Skull, Thor used Loki.
Yeah.
I still don't like the Court of Owls, though.
Fine, we can figure something out about the Court of Owls. And, Spider-Man had Green Goblin first. Like,
you
got to do a pretty good villain.
I feel like it needs to be a bigger...
It would have been a lot more elaborate had I had time.
Yeah.
Had I really been able to give it a lot more thought.
I do feel like it needs to be a bigger, like... Here's this is the fucking Court of Owls.
Well, here's my thing behind it too. Like the Court of Owls, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Young Justice when they're like talking about the light. Remember the light in Young Justice? Did you ever see Young Justice?
Yeah, I've seen Young Justice.
Okay, they're like, well, we explored every form of science and mind control. So like with this, you're getting Parasite, who's like genetically altered.
Yeah.
You're getting Grodd, who has mind control abilities.
And the
You're
gauntlets,
getting
man.
Cheetah, who's a little bit more mystic, and Cersei is a little more mystic. You've got Luthor, who's a little more tech-based, who has resources through funding and things like that. So, you've got all these different moving parts that as a whole should be almost unbeatable and be able to take over the world. Basically, what these guys were doing to defeat the world's finest was take off the world's best players off the chessboard, so to start world domination, basically.
Yeah.
And Cersei still has her own thing in play, and Luthor's got his own angle, but they kind of all came together with the Court of Owls as a means to an end, just to take out the heroes.
Yeah.
So the heroes get out of the way of all their own individual plans.
Yeah. I like that idea. I love the idea of the Court of Owls being kind of like the
Illuminati is what I kind of equate them to.
I like that.
Yeah, they definitely are. But
yeah.
It just seems way too early. But
I gotta agree with him on that.
Yep.
Yeah, but see the Grodd thing. I want to say that about the Grodd thing, but with where he's going with the world's finest, it works. It works once you get to the full picture. I mean, so it's once again, it's like what I said. Sometimes you got to deal with a little bit of weird stuff for the first couple of movies to get to get to the big picture that everybody enjoys.
In the next phase, I'm looking forward to even more, honestly, because I want to do a Green Lantern, I want to do an Aquaman, I want to do a Batman 2 and a Superman 2.
And a Vibe.
And a fucking Vibe movie.
Okay, Vibe would not be a bad character to put in a movie. I know that a lot of people is going to be like, you mean the long-haired douchebag from fucking Flash?
Yeah, that long-haired douchebag from Flash.
The goggle-wearing douchebag from the comics.
Okay, here's the thing.
He names everybody, though.
Oh, yeah, because, that's
see, you guys are
superpower.
thinking too much of the only introduction of Vibe that you guys have. Vibe is actually a more...
Vibe is not cool. When's the last time he had his own series?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
1997.
No, it was New 52s.
Yeah, but who's been in comics since then?
Grodd,
Cheetah.
Vibe has been in the comic books since then, I think.
When?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a single Flash rebirth.
He is supposed to be like I'm telling you, he's a lot.
You've got such a weird soft spot in your heart for this motherfucker.
It's not even really so much the character as much as his abilities. That's what I like about it. His abilities, his powers. Those are what I like.
Save it for a television show, bud.
There you go.
Because
he gets the
catch
Netflix
up on season
series.
4, dude. I mean, it's been really.
Yeah.
Anyways, so who wins this time?
Well, I hate to say it, because Jake is always fucking right. I'd have to go with Jake.
Well, fuck you, man.
It's because it's my podcast. That's the only reason
legitimately,
why.
though,
Kissing the fucking host ass.
He's like, you'll kick me on the podcast if I don't agree.
Ass. It's pissing me the fuck off, really. But the thing the thing is, David Bowie, right? Rest in peace. All right.
Yeah, the David Bowie dick is what won me this. I already know that.
Oh yeah,
that was my ace in the
I had
butthole.
Lesbians and I still didn't win.
You would have won if you just stopped with the lesbians, but instead you were like, Steve Trevor turns her straight.
And then
turns
Flash,
her the right
Flash
way.
is the biggest rapist.
I didn't say the right way. That's the word.
You're like, Flash is the best rapist ever.
There's some things that I just
how many could he? Without no one noticing.
But see, that doesn't speak well to his endowment
like if
either.
Bill Cosby had a power.
Oh, God.
Or Ben Roethlisberger. Fuck you, Steelers.
Yeah, and I went to Miami, so fuck Ben even more.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay.
How many bitches did he rape there?
Only 3 that I knew. And he had been graduated for like 8 years. Those bitches been there a while.
So
you gotta love a podcast that trashes the Steelers while talking comic books.
Yeah.
This might go down as the best of all
It was
time.
like in the shop today when you had people talking about.
Oh, dude, I'm not even gonna fucking
like
chime
talking
in,
about
dude. I wanted
track and cars.
I wanted
the movie.
to slap the shit out of Justin today, man. I'm
Yeah?
not gonna lie. Yeah, I was this fucking close. If that
Just because you couldn't tell the difference between Thawne and Zolomon?
no. But by saying that you could tell by the face, give me a fucking break.
Are we really going to go on this
No,
again?
I'm not getting heated over this.
This is the reason why you didn't get to finish your shitty
Calm
Flash
down.
movie.
Push the button.
All right.
You didn't get to finish your shitty Flash movie. That's the reason why right there.
Easy killer.
Anyway, guys.
Everybody's saying you're going.
So it looks
an
like
awkward little.
It looks like for the most part, my phase one's one out. So what we're gonna do is we're going to
say your phase one out, but I'm also going to throw out there that TJ's like ideas.
I love his ideas.
No,
we'll try and incorporate
a lot of them was pretty much the same thing that you had. I mean,
and we're going to incorporate the ones that he didn't have.
The
or that I didn't have.
the one where you guys didn't really. I mean, we could always incorporate. I love the idea of President Lex.
Yeah, that's my favorite idea was
that.
the President Lex thing and like Clark having to defend him even though he didn't like him.
President there and do the same thing with.
What I'm saying, I just love that angle and I want to try and find a way to use it.
Yeah,
But
and I think that's great. And then I do think that we should probably throw in a lesbian island and the Wonder Woman.
we should probably talk about the lesbian island as
We should probably
very
talk
real
about it,
possibility.
and I think we should probably do auditions.
Yeah, but not in Richmond.
Yeah,
Richmond, man.
a lot of C-sections. That's
just
what's wrong.
I'll just say I've seen a lot of women through here. Not just no one Wonder Woman worthy.
This is
I'll
when
just say that.
This is when
This is when I should
Jake
cut the
loses
podcast
all.
off.
The girl that was sitting here talking, that's commenting about Toyman, is
now-
also now going. I will never go to Comic Relief.
Yeah,
he told me to
true.
piss off. He's an asshole.
This video is about to go viral for all the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be on
Not, hey, listen up, WB execs. More like, hey, listen to these fucking misogynist rapist
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
somebody be like, hey, somebody had an idea to make Vibe a villain. I like it.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, bud.
That's true. I hope it gets people in here wanting to talk shop. But anyways, guys, so I think what we're going to do here very soon in the future is we're going to actually flesh out each one of these movies' ideas and kind of do like an Orson Welles radio show with a script. We'll all come in, do voice different characters, and we'll play out each movie for you and see what you guys think and see if maybe we should just forward this shit over to DC and get us writing some fucking movies for them. But if that's...
That or maybe they hire us for a radio show.
Or they hire us
because
for
we're
a
going
radio
back
show,
to like
yeah.
the 1950s,
Dude,
right?
someone motion comic that shit, I'd buy it on iTunes.
And then Batman came in with young Robin and...
Hey, Batman, let's go get him.
Robin.
Hey, Batman, please put your penis back in your pants.
Those green booties.
Oh, God. That's not a grappling hook. That's my penis, Batman.
Hang on to this batarang.
Okay.
I meant boner ring.
Boner ring.
But all right, guys.
Alfred!
Anyways, I think
Alfred!
that's all we're gonna have for you. This went pretty long. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and let us know what you guys think. Whose movies did you like better? What would be your idea for a Phase 1 and some of the movies you'd like to see? Let us know. And guys, thanks for listening.